Let's talk about today's mass shooting. I guess it's actually yesterday's. But what a country that when we say the mass shooting, I have to speculate, not the one from last Tuesday and not the one from the previous weekend. I'm talking about the one from yesterday. Another horrifying event. 4 people have been killed in a mass shooting at a Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's sometimes being described as a hospital, maybe more accurately, a medical building. The gunman is also dead. CBS News has a report that contains much of the information we now know. 4 people were killed in a shooting last night, Wednesday evening, in a medical building on a hospital campus in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The gunman is also dead, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Tulsa Police Department Captain Richard Muhlenberg told CNN multiple people were wounded. He said it was fewer than 10. No one had wounds considered life-threatening. So 4 dead, the shooter dead, an additional up to 10 people wounded with non-life-threatening injuries. He told the Associated Press that the medical complex was a, quote, catastrophic scene. The identities of the victims and the gunman haven't been released as of this moment. By the time this story publishes, maybe some of that will have been released. The motive wasn't immediately known. The shooting occurred a little before 5 on the campus of St. Francis Hospital. Officers were there within 3 minutes, made contact with the gunman within another 5 minutes. The police chief says, I was very happy with what we know so far regarding the response of our officers. Certainly an allusion to the response at the Texas shooting, for sure. Officers encountered the suspect on the second floor of the hospital's Natalie building. The gunman is a black male believed to be between 35 and 40, armed with a long gun and a handgun. Both weapons appeared to have been fired. The officers that did arrive were hearing shots in the building, and that's what directed them to the second floor. So listen, this is another one of these things where the details are catastrophic. The death toll is tragic. It's yet another shooting. But as always, I find it important to remind you that there have now been 20 mass shootings since last week's shooting in Texas. This is sort of like the next mass shooting that made the news in a national way. But if you look at gunviolencearchive.org and you go back to the day of the Texas shooting, where, of course, 22 were killed and 17 injured, there was a shooting in Philly, in Stanwood, Michigan, in Anniston, Alabama, Memphis, Tennessee, Colorado Springs, one in Florida, one in California, another one in Tennessee, Chicago, Henderson, Nevada, on and on and on. There have been 20 of these. There was a shooting just 2 days ago in Charleston, South Carolina, where thankfully no one was killed, but 10 individuals were injured. Waco, Texas had a shooting with 4 people injured on Tuesday. And then we get to this shooting yesterday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with 5 killed. That includes the shooter. The number injured has not yet been updated on gunviolencearchive.org. So it is not, it would be bad enough if we had the Buffalo shooting and the Texas shooting and the Tulsa shooting. But in between that, we've had dozens more shootings, and it just doesn't stop. Now, after the break, I'm going to be speaking with Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin. Many of you have said, David, you should really talk to Jamie Raskin. He's a true progressive, and he really cares. And if anybody's going to get things done in this Congress, it's going to be Jamie Raskin. Well, I'm going to speak to him after the break. And one of the questions I have for him, because we've been hearing anecdotally, this time it's different. This time it's going to be a different thing. It's not going to be the same again. I'm going to ask Jamie Raskin, is there actually any willingness from Republicans to do something about gun safety regulations this time? Or is it going to be that same vicious cycle of thoughts and prayers and no, we can't touch guns that we've seen so many times before? That's after the break. Make sure to find us on Instagram at David Pakman Show. The only subscription streaming service dedicated to documentaries is CuriosityStream, one of our sponsors. If you love documentaries like me, you should really check out CuriosityStream. They've got all the newest and best documentary titles, tons of stuff I can't find on Netflix or Hulu, And CuriosityStream is only $125 a month when you use my link below. If you're looking for those new award-winning documentaries, they've got them. If you're looking for the classics from years ago, they have those as well. I just watched a fantastic documentary called Deep Time History, which goes into early, like prehistory. Fascinating. And CuriosityStream has an app for all of your devices, TV, phone, computer. Whether you want to watch a serene nature documentary on the couch or check out a juicy political corruption story, CuriosityStream has you covered. You can get CuriosityStream for $15 a year. That's $1.25 a month. Only when you go to curiositystream.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.